Hello there, my name is Mark and these are my Dice Tales, and today I'm doing another how-to video for a different game. I'm going to do how to play the Elder Scrolls Call to Arms Skyrim. So this is not going to be the Escape from Helgen. I'm going to take the concepts of Escape from Helgen and add to it. So, there it is. The core rulebook has some advanced rules such as climbing, falling, searching chests and getting traps, and also having an event deck to spawn enemies and whatever the event deck throws at you in that particular game. So that's what I'm going to throw into this tutorial. I'm going to change some things because I want the tutorial to flow smoothly. I'm going to start with 2 enemies on the board, but I'm going to have them only move half their distance until I've collected a treasure and a weapon, and then I'm going to revert them back to their usual rules. So I'm going to halve the distance that they react to you in. So normally if you're end of movement within 6 inches of an enemy, then they would react and shoot you, attack you, or do something. And their movement would be sort of the move and sprint, so they could get 9 inches potentially, but they would get very much in my face. In the tutorial I want to sort of focus on them sort of explaining some of the rules that aren't in Escape from Helgen but are in the advanced rulebook. So let's see how it goes, and I'll see you on the other side. Any rule mistakes, do let me know in the comments below. As I say, it's my interpretation and I hope they are right. I've been trying to double check them as much as possible. See you on the other side, thank you. Hello there, right, so this is my setup. It's a 1x1 foot board. For ease of video, I'm going to go with my 28mm and I'm going to be using inches. And this isn't a bat rep, so I might fudge some dice. You might see me roll a dice, I'll explain what would have happened, but then just to keep the game flowing, I might change them to successes, okay? So this is an amalgamation of the Escape from Helgen, and I'm sure I've explained that already. What I'm going to try and do is get my Dragonborn adventurer through this little dungeon. He needs to escape off the edge here behind these skeletons. Now I'm going to play the skeletons just as they would do in the game. However, I'm going to make 2 changes just so I can sort of explain the moving and jumping rules and searching rules around here. I want to slow down my enemies just slightly. So I'm going to say instead of moving 6 inches, they're going to move 3 inches. And they will only react to me within 3 centimeters rather than the usual 6 centimeters. And they're the only changes I'm going to make. Everything else is going to be by the book. I've got a traps deck here, I've got a treasure deck here, I've got an event deck here which has been sort of created so it's got the right solo delve events in it. I am playing a Dragonborn. I'm going to be unarmed with hide armor, so that forces me to interact with these treasure tokens to try and find some weapons. And my treasure deck is randomised. I think it's got a ranged weapon, a healing, miscellaneous, and a melee weapon in there. Everything else is going to be fairly random, and as I say, if it's too random, I'll explain the results, but maybe just keep the narrative down. It's not a bat rep, it's a how-to video. Let's get on with it. So first of all, how-to, when your turn starts. So first of all, there's initiative, and who has initiative. You get this handy coin with the game, so it's got the human face on one side and the Skyrim symbol on the other. So I'm using the human face to represent my turn, where I will act first, and at the end of the turn, when I flip the dice, I should be flipping that. So I will go, and then one of the opponents will go. Then on the next turn, one of the opponents will go, then I will go, and that will change the turn, if that makes sense. We'll see it in action anyway. First thing that you do on your turn is replenish your stamina and magicka. So if I had spent any, I could take one off, ready to use again that turn. And then you've got 2 actions, and you can't repeat an action. So I can move, but I can't move again. However, I can move and then spend stamina and boost it, so that I change a move into a sprint. A hero can move and do heroic agility, so he can aid his jumping and climbing. And that's the movement action. There are plenty of actions. Let's see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 actions. That's aid, attack, block, command, hide, move, pickpocket, ready, search, do a special action, swap weapons around with yourself or your allies, and withdraw, and then 3 actions like glugging a potion and such like that. But let's get on with this. We need to move first of all. A standard move is 6 inches, so let's measure how far we can move from there. So that's going to get me between these 2 pillars. Now I purposely set up this dungeon so there's some rough terrain in here, so to try and stop me going that way, to be honest. So I could get to these 2 pillars and I could boost by spending a stamina and move an extra 3 inches, so that would get me, but every inch on rough terrain costs you 2 inches of your movement, so I would only get sort of partially onto that rough terrain and then have to try and get off it again partially next turn as well. What I intended this tutorial to do, which isn't in Escape from Helgen, is show you the climbing rules. So this is about 3 inches up and about 3 inches away, so I should be able to move to there and climb up, which I'm going to try and get to there in base-to-base contact with this objective token. However, that's going to make me do an agility test. So before I claim that treasure, so an agility test, I would roll the white skill dice and have to roll under my agility, which on this character sheet is under 4. And as I mentioned before, there are boosts, and there's a heroic move ability where I'm going to spend a stamina and I can add a green dice to make this roll easier. The green dice basically has minus numbers, so if I rolled a 7, get -2, so that would be 5. So that's not good enough in this case. What I could also do before the game starts, if you've got an opponent as well, if you're playing a versus game, you could say certain terrain is easier to climb. So this is sort of multi-level and modular. So I'm going to say it's got lots of handholds to climb. It's very easy to climb because I really want to see success here. So I could define that all this climbing, maybe that doesn't have, because that looks like a dungeon wall here. That's probably harder to climb. Yeah. So I can say this terrain is easy to climb, so I'm going to add a green dice. That's up to you to decide before your game. So I'm going to now roll to see if I can pass this climbing test. If I fail it, I'm going to be falling and possibly taking damage. So I need to roll under 4 with the results of these dice. So 10, -2, -1, that's 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, 7. So that is not under my agility, so that would actually cause me to fall. What would normally happen is I would basically get to the base and not be able to climb up. And because this is height level 1, there are different height levels in the game, but it's just, I've measured out, there's a table in the book. I would take a yellow fall damage. So that would cost 1 fall damage, but I can still use my armour to soak up that damage. So my armour rating is 1 yellow dice, so I can roll a yellow dice. So I've fallen, but not taken any damage. I've took 1 damage, but it's soaked by my armour, luckily. Nice padded armour from my hard armour saved me there. For purposes of this game though, I'm going to say I rolled a 6, which is higher than my agility, but these 2 green dice would have brought it down to 3, which is a pass. So I've made it up with my first action. I've moved and climbed as all one action and been successful about it. And I'm handily next to this little treasure trove here. So my next action is going to be to search. So I flip the token, and this is a blank one, which means it's an open chest, which means I can now perform a search action, and that means you're just going to roll skill dice again. And basically there are 3 options. Rolling a number is I've successfully picked up a treasure. Rolling a critical, I would get 2 treasures, and rolling an X would be a trap. Fantastic. Let's see what is on top of the trap deck. Now we'll still get a treasure from this, but I'm also going to potentially suffer some damage. The explosive gas trap. Okay, what's that going to do to me? Apply the following damage to the target model. 2 yellow dice, but it would also be in a 3-inch area around me, so it's like big pocket of gas. Luckily I've got no allies with me, it's just myself, but let's see what would have happened. 2 damage, but I can also roll a yellow dice from my armour to try and block some of this gas damage. I blocked 1. I'm going to roll with this. I know it says it's not a bat rep, but let's see how I do by taking 1 damage here. Hopefully there'll be a healing potion in one of these decks. Right, I still do get the treasure though. The first one is a healing potion. So that was randomly shuffled, so I haven't curated this tutorial that much. So that's my two actions. I've moved and I've searched and taken damage and used a stamina point. So that's going to be good to sort of show you how these replenish next turn. That's fantastic. And the healing potion, I can use that as a free action at any time. So probably when I take a little bit more damage, I could roll a red dice and recover that many hit points. So now it's going to be my opponent's turn. There is a septim level. This is less than 100 septims. And so basically I think if you're at 100 septims, the enemy would get 2 activations. In this case, they're only going to get 1 activation. So I've given them numbers here, number 1 and number 2. And I'm just going to take these equivalent number 1 and number 2 icons, shuffle them up without looking. Choose this one. Number 1 is going to act. Number 1 is the swordsman here. So there is the black dice. You'd roll a black dice to find out what he's going to do. So that is the 3 damage symbol. So you'd look at the matrix card. And he is from the might faction. So you look down the might and you look for the 3 damage symbols. And that's an attack action. So he can't cross this. That's unclimbable. That's a wall. He literally, the layout of this dungeon is we're going to need to come down this horseshoe shape. So he's going to move. And as I said, just for this tutorial, I'm going to keep him just moving 3 inches. Because he can't get to me, he's actually going to spend a stamina as well and double his move, so he's going to move 6 inches. So you'd look at the AI table in the book, you'd see what move is, and move tends to say move as close to the enemy as possible, and if you can spend stamina to get closer. It might say if you can't get closer and you'd be in line of sight, block. It might say hide. There are various things. But in this case, I'm just going to move him closer. And that is turn 1. So we're going to draw an event at the end of turn 1 and see what happens. Divine Inspiration. Discard that trap. Choose one of your models. That model may re-roll any number of dice from its next skill or attribute test. That's going to be useful because I want to jump across here. So, fantastic. I'm going to mix that up and try and forget which number that is. Also in the game, you would potentially spawn more enemies, but I'm going to say I can only have 2 enemies on the board at a time for this particular training mission. Right, so that is turn 1. The other one won't activate. Take off. You would put on an activation token if there was more people on the board. I'm going to take that off now. Change my dice to turn 2. Flip the initiative token. And now it's on the Skyrim side. One of the Skyrim enemy foes, adversaries, is going to act. So again, I'm just going to mix these 2 tokens up and choose which one it is. You can flip a coin. When they're obviously flick a coin if there was 4 or more. So this time I picked up number 2. So the archer's going to move. He is a shadow and cautious enemy. And he's rolled the cross swords. The cross swords for shadow is attack. So I'm saying that blocks line of sight. He can't see me up there. He's going to have to move his way around here. So again, he's going to move 6 inches towards me in this particular scenario. So basically following his skeleton swordsman buddy. I wonder if they knew each other in life. Right, so that is the enemy activated. Remember number 1 and number 2, just so I remember which ones when I draw my tokens. And now I can have my 2 actions. So you can jump half your movements. So hopefully I've measured this out. That is a 3-inch jump. And again, at the start of the turn, you replenish your stamina and Magicka. So I'm going to take this stamina off. And to jump, I'm going to have to do an agility test to try and get to over here. And again, I'm going to spend a stamina to add 1 green dice to this roll. So under 4, 2 minus 1. Fantastic. So I've jumped across. If I'd failed, I would plummet down here and have to walk around and go up the steps the other way. And again, that falling, I'd say it's the same height as this, and take a yellow damage potentially. I've made it across, that's my first move action. I'm by this objective, I'm going to flip the token, and this time I've got a locked chest. It's got a difficulty rating of 1, so that's an easy locked chest. And I do have the pick lock skill. So I'm going to attempt to open that with my second action. So I need to roll a skill. I don't think I've got the actual pick lock ability as such. There various perks that you can get, so I don't have that. I could try and bash it open. Now these symbols mean, so lockpick is agility, so but the one there would reduce or make the target number harder. So I'd need 3 or less instead of 4 or less to bash it open, because I've got a strength of 5, but I'd actually reduce that by 3, so I'd need 2 or less. So I'm going to try and pick it. Not much difference in it, to be honest, but see what it gets. 3! Fantastic, which is exactly what I needed. I'm on a roll. My other previous videos have been terrible. Right, so let's see what's inside it, and it's a search test again. Critical, 2 treasure items, and I also get to replenish one of my, the potion symbol there means I can replenish one of my resources, so fantastic. And 2 treasures this time. So I've got a Nordic war axe, so I'm going to, you know what, and my second one is a ancient Nordic bow. Fantastic, I'm geared up to the nines. I'm going to put the bow on, because my enemies aren't close to me yet, and put the X in my backpack. And I haven't need to use my divine reroll, but it does say my next one, so I think that is spent, so I'm going to get rid of that and get rid of that token. So that's cool, my character has an axe and has a bow on his back. Perfect. So that was a jump and a search, that's my actions done. The enemy is already acted and I'm not within 6 or 3 inches in this, my rolling in this scenario. So that is turn, so we get an event again. Blessings of Akray, R-K, I don't know how you say that, A-R-K-A-Y, but it's a good one. It is roll a red dice and distribute that many health points amongst your wounded models, so it's a healing blessing. 1, which is exactly what I've got, so I'm full health and armoured up. Now it would spawn another enemy, but I'm saying for this training scenario, 2 enemies on the board is quite enough. And that was the end of turn 2, so we're going into turn 3. Remove any tokens that we don't need, so the activation token. Flip this, so it's now my turn to start. I have the initiative. So there's 1 more chest and 1 more treasure. So I'm potentially going to move down there, or I can prepare, because I'm fully armoured now. I don't know what the last treasure was. I think it might be a torch or something like that, which won't be needed. So I might skip that last one and start to move around here and hide. So this is a nice stepped, gradual underlay and undulating terrain. 6 gets me around to there. I could, if I want, boost it to get a little bit further. So yeah, let's boost it. I'm going to spend stamina and get an extra 3 inches. And with my second action, no one can see me because there's a big wall here. So I'm going to use the hide mechanic. So that means the enemies, to get base to base with me or to attempt to shoot me, they need to make intelligence tests. So that's my 2 actions. Let's see which enemy is going to activate. So again, mix up the 2 tokens. Which one is going to be? This one. Number 1. Number 1 is the swordsman. Let's see what his reaction is going to be. Look on the mic path. This is an attack action. Right. How far away is he? I don't think he can get around, even with a boosted action. It's a little bit short of getting towards me, and also he can't actually see me. I'm going to make him make an intelligence test just to show you how the hidden mechanic works. So he is going to try and move and get closer to me, but he's probably going to end up blocking because he can't get in base to base. But let's see if he can even know my general direction. So his intelligence is 1. So he needs a crit or a 1 on this dice. And he failed it, so he doesn't know where I am, but he's just going to wander around. So he's going to wander. Let's get him to round about there. And I believe he would block, so I'm going to give him the block symbol here. Again, check the AI. I might do another video on AI or not, or just sort of see it flow out in bigger actual games and bat reps. He's going to move to there and block. The block will give him an extra yellow dice in defense. Okay, that is the enemy activation. I activated and wandered around there. He's activated. There's only one of them that activates. I think we're good to go into turn 4. So let's do an event before we do that. Ancient Riddles. So this is the way of getting extra victory points. Most of the missions in the scenarios in the book have you lose, you have a narrow victory, or you have a decisive victory. And that's based on the victory points. You often get a victory point by killing enemies, taking oaths, which are sort of little side things to do, and dealing with strategic puzzles. So this is actually going to put a puzzle on the map. I'm sure I had a puzzle nearby. I've got yeah, there's one. So put it 8 inches away from your hero. I'm going to put the puzzle round on this wall here. And it will spawn an enemy, but again, I'm not bringing more enemies. I don't have to repeat that again. And then we go into turn 4. Let's see if I can do this before turn 8. So we'll flip to the enemy, take off the tokens, and it's the enemies. So let's mix up their 2 tokens again. It's hard to mix up 2 tokens. Do my best. Yeah. Number 2 is the archer. So let's see what the archer is going to do. It has drawn the cross sword symbol. So archer is a shadow, cross swords is attack. Now it can't see me through the wall, so it's going to have to try and maneuver around here. Let's see how it does that. If it moves it 6 inches, it can get to there and have a shot at me. So I'm going to say it does that. I'm breaking my own rules saying, because I did say, well, 6 inches is a sprint, but he's cautious. I just rolled the attack though. Just going to double check the book for what it wants him to do. Where did I place the actual book? Behind me. Cautious attack. But I'm not in line of sight. Unable to move as close as possible. Sprint if necessary. So it's going to move 6 inches, so it can't get to there. And let's just check if it's going to then throw up a block. That seems like it. It's going to just move to there. It can see me. It's ready to take me out. Don't think that changes anything that I would do on my turn. Don't think it takes the hidden status from it either. So let's go with that on this particular rule. If you do think I'm doing the wrong thing there, let me know in the comments below. As I say, don't trust YouTubers. Their interpretation of the rules may be incorrect. Go with your gut feeling. But there is a caveat in the rules as well. It says override the AI table if you don't think it's logical. So let's go with that. So we've activated an enemy. That takes it to my hero. So he's got a hidden token. He has the sneak ability. I could still sneak attack this Draugr here, this swordsman. I think I'm going to do that. Make sure, yeah, I've got 3 this turn 4. Just make sure I've not skipped any events. Right, let's do this. So, manoeuvring. I can move 6 inches and get into base to base with that one. Swapping weapons. I'm going to equip. I don't know if that's an action. Let me just quick check. Before performing this action, a hero may rearrange. Before performing this action, may arrange. I think swap items is swap with someone else. So I think it's a free action to swap your weapons yourself. Before performing this action, a hero may rearrange their inventory, taking any upgrade cards they like from their currently equipped slots and unequipped upgrade cards and reassigning them. Spells, shouts, abilities can also be swapped. If the hero is unengaged, swap items use the swingle action. If the hero is engaged, it costs 2. You know what? I don't need to move. I'm hidden. I can do a sneak attack, and I can see that skeleton out in the open. So let's do that instead. So first of all, replenish my pools, then decide what I'm going to do. So I'm not going to move because I've not got. I had the bow equipped. Sorry, I've been swapping things around there. And I'm going to shoot the skeleton archer, and then possibly block. I don't really have a shield to block, so I can't block. It's going to be shooting this skeleton archer. Right. So it's within 8 inches. It's about 6 inches. So we look at what our default pool is, and within 8 inches it's 2 yellow dice and a green dice, and obviously the skill dice. Being hidden, I think, gives me an extra yellow dice on top, because it didn't pass any intelligence check. It literally just moved as close as possible without actually knowing where I was. So let's roll these dice. So I've got a crit, which I think brings in a black damage dice. And I've done plenty of damage anyway. I don't think it can save that. And that is an automatic hit. Let's check what it would roll on its defense, which is a yellow dice. So let's take that empty one away. It actually saved 2, but it's still going to take lots more damage, even if I don't add the crit damage. It's dead. So we've taken one enemy off the board there and revealed, and I'm now revealed from my hidden state, I believe. I think there might be a dice check to see if you remain hidden. 2. So I think I do remain hidden. I'm sure you look at your sneak ability and have to roll underneath it. So let's change that. I will double check the rules and then do an after chat and probably post in the comments below if I think I've got something wrong, or I'll obviously mention it in the after chat. So we've killed skeleton number 2, we can take that out of the pool. There are the 2 symbols there. That was the first action, the shoot action, and I've remained hidden. So with that, can I move? Can I sneak? I've got sneak. I'm pretty sure I can move and remain hidden. So I'm going to wander around here and just sort of leap across this wall while hidden. It's a low wall, I think you can cross anything less than 1.5 inches in height. Because I'm so close though, the enemy will get an extra green dice when it tries to spot me now, so even with its low intelligence it might spot me. So that is the end of turn 4. Let's draw an event and see what happens. Hold on. Because I'd ended an action within, I give it the benefit of the doubt, it's just about 3 inches, that enemy would get to activate as well, so before I move here I should have maybe done this. 3, that is attack action, but I am still, let's reset. I am still hidden behind this wall. Let's see if it can find me. Now it's going to get green dice for this. It's a fail, so it can't find me. It would manoeuvre towards me. It might actually block my exit, so maybe I can't jump, but it can't get within an inch. And it would block because it can't do anything else. So that has changed what I've got to do. So I shot, it reacted. I now got my second attack, so I'm going to use my second attack to shoot instead. So green dice, 2 yellow dice, 1 for being hidden and surprise attack, and skill dice to see if I can hit him. 5 minus 2 is underneath my agility, which is 4, so that's great. 4 damage, which I think would kill this outright. Let's roll his defense anyway. It's blocked 1. Not enough. It's only a minion. It's a goner. I can roll another dice for him because he was blocking. Blank. We did see a blank there, didn't we? He's a goner. Right, so that is the end of the enemy's turn. And all the pool, all the little enemy tokens have gone. Let's draw a card and go to turn 5. Its basis maneuvers. This is going to spawn an enemy back onto the board, so I'm going to roll 50-50. Have I got a 6-sided dice somewhere? I'm sure I have a normal dice rocking around somewhere. 1, 2, 3, it's the archer. 4, 5, 6, it's a swordsman. 1, 2, 3, it's the archer. So I'm going to bring an enemy back on here. Just that's what that symbol means here, that it spawned. But then I've got evasive maneuvers, which is basically nothing in this situation. You may choose one of your enemy models engaged with an enemy. That model immediately moves 3 inches away and the model may not end its move engaged. If it's not, draw another card. So let's draw another event. What was that? If the adversary rules are in effect, choose a point on the gaming area within 6 inches of one of your models. The adversary spawns from that point instead of a table edge. So instead of spawning over there, an enemy's going to spawn. If you're not playing with the adversary rules, discard and draw another card. So I'll take that. I'm going to take the swordsman and put him 6 inches away. Just to spice up the tutorial a little bit. But I'm going to put him, he's going to come on from this. This obviously leads off to a craggy area. And another undead has crept in somewhere. But hopefully won't bother the tutorial because he's going to be slowed down by that. Right. So that takes us into turn 5. We flip this, which makes it my turn. So I'm full health, and I want to get off the board here. I think we've got a good chance of doing this. I think I can risk a shot from this particular skeleton archer. So I'm going to move and I'm going to sprint. So I'm going to spend a stamina, nothing to replenish, so, and try and move 9 inches. So let's see, 4 would get me to there. I could try and take cover. Another 4 would get me. There's a couple of boxes and barrels here. Just make them out. I'm going to say they do obscure me, give me extra cover. And then next turn I should have plenty to sprint off the board, assuming that I'm not engaged. So that's a move. I don't have a shield, so I can't block. I'm going to switch to my melee weapon. That's my second action. So I'll spend an action to move, sprint, and then an action to put my axe in my hand so I can cleave that skeleton as I'm trying to flee this dungeon. Fabulous news. Now we're going to choose which enemy is going to activate. Are you within 6 inches? Because he would activate. See, I'm breaking my rule here, but now we're in combat. I only wanted to use a 3-inch rule while I was demonstrating moving down here. They should activate while within 6. So I'm going to take that. Hope that's not confusing for you. Do comment in the comments below if you're finding it confusing. So this enemy is going to activate, and what's he going to do? The Oblivion symbol. So look on Shadow, look at Oblivion symbol. That's attack, and I know that the attack is he's going to aim. He's within 8 inches, so he is 1 green, 2 yellow. Because he's got the attack, he's going to spend his stamina to aim, which gives him an extra green dice. Let's roll those dice and see what he gets. 10. Don't think he's going to hit. -2, -3, so that's 7. Would have been a solid hit, but he needed to roll under 3. So that's a miss from the skeleton. Now it will be the enemy's activation, and there's only this guy to activate right now, so he is going to. Doesn't really matter what he's going to do, he's going to sprint towards me no matter what. But look at the mic chart, look at the 3 attacks. That's an attack. I'm going to have him on full speed, but he's going to half it, so he's literally going to be halfway onto that rough terrain. And he would block. Then we're going to have an event. Turn 5 event. The Way of the Voice. Well, this is a quest. You have been summoned to the High Hrothgar, the proclaimed Dragonborn. Now you must prove your powers in a series of tests. Your party must include at least 1 model with a Dragon Shout keyword, and it's a quest that says deal damage or inflict status effects on an enemy models at least 3 times using Dragon Shouts before the game ends. So I can take that and try and complete that for extra victory points. It's not relevant in this bat rep, so it's just a free event. So that takes us into turn 6. And we flip this, so the enemy's going to go first in turn 6. So let's choose which enemy. So we've got enemy, I'm going to call this one enemy 1, put a token in my pool, and this one enemy 2, and put a token in my pool, mix up my pool, choose which one is going to activate. So left or right? This one. Number 2 is this skeleton. Draugr Swordsman. He's got the cross swords on might is move, so he's going to move and sprint this time. So it's going to cost him 3 to get off and then that's pretty much his sprint, and 6 to get around the edge here. Just shy. You can even leap over the wall if you want. It's a bit more dramatic to leap over the wall. Imagine a skeleton leaping over your garden wall. But he's just short of whacking me, even with a sprint. So he's moved, sprinted, and yeah, I don't think he would go into block. I'm pretty sure he would go into block. Then it's my turn. I can just sprint off the board at this point, and I think that's what I'm going to do and end the turn. 9 inches. There's a bit of a gap I can get past that enemy. Ah! I fled the cave that I've awoken in for whatever reason and claimed some extra treasure, fallen treasure from previous adventurers and creatures that lurk in the dark, and escaped with full health. Fantastic. So victory points, I think I killed both enemies and then these two spawned on, so I would have got 2 victory points. I didn't do anything with the puzzle, and I did survive a trap at least, so I think that's pretty eventful. And that is sort of a more advanced version of the 3 tutorial quests in the Escape from Helgen book, because they don't have climbing in there, they don't have the events in there, they don't have, don't know if they had traps as such. And that's it. They definitely don't have spawning enemies. So it's a bit more advanced than the tutorial that you might try and do from the game. If you're playing with kids, you might stick with that tutorial. Yeah, I'm good with that. So let's go to the after chat and see if I got anything wrong. Welcome back. So thanks for watching that. I hope it was useful to you. If you did find it useful, do give me a like and subscribe, because there'll be more like this in the future, possibly other games, possibly back reps for Skyrim. And do comment below if you subscribed because of this video, or it was any way useful to you to try and get to know how attacks work, jumping and heroic moves works, etc. Anything you'd like to see me improve in the future. So I had, as I say, I think I had a previous video where I said I had some anxiety playing this game. It did seem like a lot of crunch going on compared to some of the other games which are more streamlined, where you're just rolling very specific dice. So I'm liking it for the crunch, for the treasure, for the traps and things. I think there's definitely more to build on for the game, and I'm thinking that might be coming start or end of October. I think they've got a campaign set coming out. They've got the followers coming out soon, so there'll be more cards, more people to base your adventurers on, and using named characters from the actual Skyrim computer game, so it's brilliant. And I'm loving the game because, one, I like lockpicking treasure chests and being blown up by gas traps. That's fantastic. The AI, mostly okay. My first few games I've really had problems with the cautious skeleton, but I've decided to just go with it and do what it says. There are definitely times when there's a skeleton, you're on 1 hit point, the skeleton's right in front of you, and the skeleton decides to hide for some reason. So use your logic to override it if you think you need to. But for this game I played it as it was. There is a little bit to curating the event deck. Anyway, I'm liking the game. Lockpicks, explosive traps, fantastic. That's what I want in a game. I would love to see a mission where I'm sneaking into a house or a dungeon, pickpocketing the key from an ogre or a guardsman, and then going raiding the treasure without them finding out. Haven't played a scenario like that yet, but I hope they do make them, or there's more coming like that. I'm looking forward to seeing more creatures. Right now there is literally just a Draugr. You could play with the enemy being Imperial Swordsmen and Stormcloaks, but I'd love to see them expand on that. There is a player doing unofficial fan-made content on the unofficial Facebook page. I'm loving it for the small content. I'm loving it for the small table size, 2x2 foot, even when playing it with 28mm, and I can play it on this small size if I'm playing 15mm, which is even better. I'm loving that. That's it. I don't think there's much else to say. This flowed very smoothly. It's been my about 6th game. 1, because I've been playing the game and learning the rules, and then thinking, right, I'm going to scrap that video and try again. 2, because I had the enemies sort of swarming me and I thought the small board wasn't working. So having them half movement until I explain this bit works for the scenario, and then having them doing the full activations near the end. I hope that didn't confuse anyone. Anyway, I'm rambling. So Mark's Dice Tales, how Mark thinks Skyrim is played. I hope it was helpful to you. So do like and subscribe, and see you in other videos. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Dovahkiin, Dovahkiin, da 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 da, Dovahkiin, da 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 da. Toss a coin to your Dovahkiin, da 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 da.